Breaking news! The retirement crisis has been put on hold again. How dare you mock this, Josh? Don't you know? People are going to be eating cat food in retirement! Don't you know the Federal Reserve Board has ruined everything? Jerome Powell! Don't you know the dollars are worth anything? We don't have pensions the way we used to. It's funny how my voices aggravate some people. Some people are literally just sitting there. They hate me because I do that, dude. I just laugh at them and the retirement fearmongers. I just got done reading the survey for household. Oh man, it's from the Federal Reserve Board. Survey for household. I don't know what's called. ED, erectile dysfunction, I suppose. Survey for household erectile dysfunction. Anyway, so as always, they've been doing this survey for a long time. As always, the people in retirement are much, much, much more satisfied about their financial situation than the people who aren't retirement. This cannot possibly be the case if there were a retirement crisis. It can't be the case. How can it possibly be the case? The vast majority of people are satisfied in retirement. That doesn't mean they're all freaking living on yachts. That doesn't mean they're not, have to worry about their financial situation. I worry about my financial situation. You're always going to worry about your financial situation. But they say, how satisfy you financially in your current lot in life? And they say the vast majority are satisfied. It's just every single year, it's the same thing. And the vast majority of people who are satisfied are always retirees as relative to the people who are still working. The people who are still working are the least satisfied. But even then, the majority of them are still satisfied. The interesting thing was, very interesting. This is what Trump's got to keep in mind for when he serves his fourth term. Because remember, he should have won in 2020, so they robbed that from him. But he did. He can serve a third term because he was, he's Trump. He can do whatever he wants. So when Trump gets his third term, he's got to keep this in mind. It's not just about your overall satisfaction. It's about your overall. It's relative. All right. It's almost like the Einstein's stupid theory of relativity. It's relative to where you were before. All right. And so what happens is under the Sniffy Joe's regime, the majority of people were still satisfied financially, but they were less satisfied than they were previously, if that makes sense. Got stuff in my Pearly Yellows, just had some eggs and bacon. I think you got a little bacon in my Pearly Yellows, so you're going to have to deal with me, folks. The majority of people were still satisfied, but significantly less satisfied than they were previously. All right, and that's the issue. So if you have this going up, and up, and then even though you're still above 50%, and significantly above 50%, mind you, but they're significantly less above 50% than they were before. All right, and that's a big deal. So it's the relative, their current situation relative to they were last year. And I talked about this in my Richard Easterlin's book. He talks about if you were of the baby boomers, all right, you were less satisfied than your parents were financially, even though you were much better off than your parents were. Why? Because your parents were raised during the Great Depression. They didn't have squat. They didn't have a freaking pot to pee in. They didn't. And even though you, Mr. and Mrs. Baby Boomer, were better off than them, you were less satisfied because when you were being raised, you had a lot more financial wherewithal than your parents did. It's all about relativity. Where were you relative to where you are today? If you were relatively better off, or not say relatively, if you were better off in the past than you feel you are today, even if you are unequivocally better off today than the vast majority of people, you don't feel better off. You feel more financially stressed. And you think about the United States, we are so much better off than people in Congo. Is Congo even still a country? What was that one guy's name? Joseph Laurent, who got assassinated. I think it was the Democratic Republic of Congo. It was like 20 years ago. I'll never forget Joseph Laurent, and a big fat guy got assassinated. Of course, no one cared because it's Africa. No one pays any mind. But anyway, I'd never forget that, and I'm not sure why. I've always been, beat us, man. We're so much better off than people in Congo in terms of our quality of life with our creature comforts. Yet we will still feel less financially secure than the people of Congo. I just use a Congo. I don't know what their financial situation is financially in terms of they feel secure or not. I don't know. My inclination is I bet we feel worse off than they do financially secure than the people in Congo. I don't know that to be true, but there's something to be said about your relative financial situation. Is how were you before, how are you now? That will make you feel relatively secure or not. It's just that simple. And so that's one of the benefits of being raised poor, by the way. If you're raised poor, you're like, dude, I didn't have any, like, we're going to have steak tonight, New York strips, you know what I'm saying? I got grass-fed beef here and farm fresh beef in Ball Ground, Georgia. It costs $16 a pound. Dude, we had liver. We had tofu and liver all the time. My mom on occasion would make homemade spaghetti, which was to die for. My dad on occasion would make this freaking kick-ass cake with whipped cream and some kind of chocolate cake thing, a cookie. Dude, it's so good. But we didn't have any sugar. We didn't have any freaking steaks. We very rarely did we grill hamburgers. And we just had, liver. I just remember we had liver all the time, and tofu. And now again, and lots of pasta because I think it's cheaper. Anyway, the point being is, I don't have to eat like that anymore because I can afford more, and I feel great. However, on the other hand, if we couldn't afford, if I was eating all that as a kid, and now I can eat that less than I used to, all right? So let's just say I was able to eat New York strip as a kid, and now I can eat New York strip like once a month, maybe one or twice a month, which is more than I did as a child. We never ate New York strip. Then I'm going to feel less secure because before I was able to eat New York strip once a week, now I can only eat it twice a month. And I'm like, yeah, but that guy over there, he never ate New York strip. It doesn't matter. It's all relative to your previous lot in life. Anyway, I cannot stress this enough. It's so interesting. And so once again, you can see that retirees are comfortable, satisfied, and the same thing, it's synonymous, being comfortable and satisfied over and over and over again. And it's just amazing to me because you would think that they wouldn't be, given that their consumption has gone down, their income has gone down, and yet they're still doing fine. And I'm just telling you, it's just because they don't have debt. They didn't say that they don't ask that in the survey of household erectile dysfunction shed, but I'm sure it has because they don't have debt. Because they're not carrying debt, the vast majority of retirees own their own homes. Because they're not carrying debt, I guarantee they're like, yeah, I'm just doing better than I was when I was growing or raising a family because I had debt I had to worry about. I'm just telling you, man, I guarantee that's what's going on here. But you're not feeling comfortable in retirement if you're not going to say you're satisfied in retirement if you're running out of money. All right, God bless. Love your thoughts. And hit the gym. I'm going to do leg day. It takes leg day. It's been about 2 weeks since I did leg day, so I probably won't be able to walk again. God bless.